Dragma players be like, I'm here to kill extra deck monsters and chew bubblegum! And I'm all out of bubblegum. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that little snippet there at the beginning. I had to make a joke. You guys know me. If you're new to this channel, I am Ben 10,000 of Wajo, your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh! Superhero, and today, guys, we're going to be going over a new archetype, the Dragma Archetype. I don't know if they'll keep that name, but, you know, it's a very interesting, it seems like a very interesting archetype, and I was inspired by Slim Wajo to do this. He talked about he was playing an invoked variant on his Twitch channel, so I decided I wanted to take a crack at it, and yeah, so I'm going to showcase what this deck can do, give you my opinions on it, and yeah. So if you're new to the Ben 10,000 channel, this is how we do this. We'll have this little conversation at the front, we'll have some replay footage in the middle, and then at the end I'll have the deck profile where you guys can see it, and we will go over the deck and all that good jazz. So, without further ado, guys, let's go check out that replay footage. See you on the flip side. Guys enjoyed that little replay footage. I know none of those decks were particularly meta, but that's okay. We were just really playing around with this archetype, just kind of to get to know it a little bit, if you will. So this archetype is actually really interesting. I don't think I'm gonna. I wanted to go more of a pure route, but I definitely think that it's better to try to mix it with something else. I know that Slim has been talking a lot about the invoked engine. I haven't had a chance to play with that, so I don't know how that would work, but or what the interactions are, but we're gonna go over the new cards, and then we'll you know, and then I'll give you my opinion on it. So okay, so the first one we're gonna go over is Cardinal of Dogma Tetra. Yeah, big word I can't speak. All right, so must first be special summoned by its own effect. And it cannot be normal summoned or set. You target 4 Fusion, Synchro Xyz, or Link monsters in the graveyard and special summon this card from your hand. If you do, banish those targets. In the graveyard. Excuse me, it's in either one. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a special summon monster, destroy as many monsters, attack position monsters as possible, then inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each Fusion, Synchro Xyz, or Link monster destroyed. Big monster. The really neat factor here is that this card can special summon itself off of the opponent's graveyard. So if they have Fusion, Synchro, you know, extra deck monsters in their graveyard, it's like, oh yeah, boom. I can pay the cost a little bit from you, the opponent, as well as from my own graveyard. I find that very neat. Then we have Fleur Dalis, the Dragma Knight. During the main phase, if a monster with special summon from the extra deck is on the field, quick effect, use special summon this card from your hand. This is kind of a hand trap. Then, if you control another Dragma monster, you can negate the effects of one face-up monster on the field until the end of this turn. That is really cool because you could just kind of like, oh, quick effect, summon, negate. I like that. So, like I said, he's kind of a pseudo hand trap, as well as he can be an attacker or defender with a 25-25. I really like the stats. And when a Dragon monster declares an attack, you can make all Dragon monsters you control gain 500 attack each. But you can only use, obviously, the effect of Dragma Knight once per turn. I play 3 of this. I only played 2 of the Maximus Dragma just because, I don't know, it just seemed like a smarter way to go about it. It doesn't seem like it's the most important card. You can banish 1 Fusion Synchro Xyz or Link monster from your graveyard, a special summon this card from your hand during your main phase. Send 2 monsters with different names from your extra deck to the graveyard. Your opponent sends 2 monsters from their extra deck to the graveyard. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn that you use this effect. You can only use the effect of Maximus Dragma once per turn. That's why I only play 2 of it. It's kind of hard to summon. You gotta have an extra deck monsters in the graveyard before you can summon it. It's not impossible, but it's a little bit difficult. But the other effect is really good. And then when we get to the extra deck, I'll talk about that. All right, then we have Theo, the Dragon Iron Hammer. And let's real quick, we're going to talk about all the ones that the level 4 Dragmas have. The Oracle, the Dragma Saint, and the Iron Hammer. They cannot be destroyed by battle with monsters that are special summoned from the extra deck. And if you control an extra deck monster, or if there's an extra deck monster on the field, they can special summon themselves for free. So they all have that. Let's go over the effects that are individual to them. This one says you can target 1 face-up monster on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck, and until the end of this turn, this card gains 600, and if it does, the target loses 600. So steal 600 attack points from an opposing monster. Seems really useful. Albus, the Nullius Filius. This is kind of the anti-Dragma monster. I believe the idea is the way the artwork is to imply he's the villain of the story. Like, all these guys are heroes and they're trying to fight him. I think that's what they're trying to say. If this card is normal special summoned, discard 1 card, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using this card on the field and a monster your opponent controls as fusion material. You can only use the effect of Albus once per turn. Basically, he's a super poly on legs, but he's a level 4 dragon, so he kind of bucks the system from the rest of the archetype because they're all light spellcasters. So, there you go. His particular fusion monster helps out him is for this and the rest of the Dragma stuff. This guy. We'll get over that in a minute. Scylla, the Dragma Saint, she is the Stratos of the deck. She is going to search you your Dragma cards upon being normal or special summoned, and really neat. Then we have the Adin, the Dragma Oracle. He has all the other effects that they have, but that the rest of them have. His effect is if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you special summon 1 Dragon monster from your deck. That's really useful. So he's they kill him, he replaces himself with probably her, and then at least you get a plus out of it. Ash Blossom, that stuff. Then we have Disciple of Nadir. Send 1 monster from your extra deck to the graveyard to add 1 Dragon monster, or Albus the Nellius, whatever. Yeah, Albus from your deck or graveyard to your hand with attack less than or equal to the sent monster. For the rest of the turn, if this card resolves, you cannot special summon the extra deck. Not a big deal. And of course, you can only activate 1. It's Rhoda for the archetype. Then we have their field spell, Dogmatic Nation Dragma. Neither player can target Dragon monsters you control with the effect of monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck, so that's really, really, really powerful. It kind of makes it to where the opponent has to pick the field spell or back row for destruction, like if it's a targeted effect, and instead of the Dragon monsters, which I find very useful. After damage calculation, if your Dragma monster battles an opponent's monster, you could destroy that opponent's monster, so that basically turns all the Dragmas into Ally of Justice Catastor. Really cool. If this card in the field zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can make each player send 1 monster from their extra deck to the graveyard. This is awesome. It's another way to punish the opponent for blowing up our stuff. I dig it. Then we have Dragma Punishment. Target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Send 1 monster from your extra deck to the graveyard equal to or higher than attack, and if you do, destroy the targeted monster until the end of your next turn. After this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck, which this deck doesn't care. It's like, screw you, extra deck monsters. Dragma Encounter. Special summon one Dragon Monster or Albus from your hand. That's its first effect, and then it has a second one. Take one Dragon Monster or Albus from your graveyard and add it to your hand, or special summon it. So that's its two effects. You can either special summon from the hand, special summon from the grave, or take one that's in the grave and add it to your hand. Those are your options, which I find all very useful effects. And then we have to go over the new card, Bastard the Ashen Dragon. I'm sure they will just like cut this thing down to like the Ashen Dragon or something like that. I wouldn't be shocked, just to be simple. But basically, this is one Albus plus one monster with 2,500 or more attack. It gains attack equal to the level of the materials used. So obviously, if you use it Xyz or Link or whatever, you won't get anything, but that's fine. After this card is fusion summoned for the rest of the turn, it is unaffected by the activated effects of other monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck. During the end phase of this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can take one Dragma monster or one Albus from your deck and add it to your hand, or special summon it. That's kind of cool. And you can only use the effect of that once per turn. So that's the connecting card between Albus and the rest of the Dragmas, is this card. Because basically you could either send this card off with the other monster, other effects that send these things to get pluses, or you can use it with this guy to fuse with your opponent's monsters. And of course, it's an anti extra deck monster, so that's really useful there. We have a few cards that you're not going to be familiar with, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of go over that. Fossil Warrior Skull Knight. This guy is basically the reason why you might want to play this card later down the line, is because it's kind of like Elder Entity Nidus here. I'm just going to say Nidus. I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce it, but we're going to go with it. Basically, when Nidus goes to the graveyard for any reason, it's like, oh, pop something. Cool. Skull Knight is a little different. Basically, what his thing is you can banish him, and it's not, it's not a, what do you call it? It's not a quick effect, so you'll have to do it on your turn, but there you go. Basically, you're playing these particular fusions right here, so you can destroy your opponent's cards as well as get searches. And then, of course, I play the 1000 as restrict with the instant fusion here. That was just a purpose to have like an easy summonable extra deck monster to give these guys out. And then we have like just a few like recursion cards, like aside from the Omega, so we can recycle these cards back. A Daigusta Emerald, same purpose. Totally awesome, same purpose. It just goes back to the extra deck. That's the purpose of these three cards, is recyclability. Most of the deck is spellcasters, so that's why you see Daybreaker in here. His sole purpose is, I'm gonna kill back row, just because sometimes you're going to be up against a deck that, like for example, if you're up against something like dinosaurs, you're going to be able to need your monsters to not go face down. This will help with that. Link God Dragon and Quasar here are just big monsters to send off. I think in hindsight, I thought I needed two, but realistically, I only needed one. So there's a lot of room for play around with this extra deck. I give this extra. I definitely could see this. This thing's going to be meta. I'm convinced. This is going to be meta. It's going to combine with something else. If they don't touch Invoked, I guarantee you this will. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Invoked deck with this would do some just gnarly stuff, because I'll be straight with you guys. I was kicking ass and I barely knew what the hell I was doing. You know what I mean? I'm beating the crap out of decks I shouldn't be beating the crap out of. It has its own way to go. Plus, all of its cards do something, and there's a lot of removal. Like, a lot. And a lot of recursion. I mean, literally, I play extra deck monsters that need to put themselves back, so I constantly have fuel. Or I have ways to constantly get pluses off. So, like, for example, our Stratos here, the Dragma Saint, I mean, literally just Dragma Encounter plus the Saint. I mean, literally, I'm getting pluses every turn. Or there's self-replacing cards like Nation, like the Nation Dragma here, Dogmatic Nation Dragma, and the add in the Dragma Oracle. These guys are self-replacing cards. So the resource. I definitely can tell you for sure that one of the things that this deck has going for it is the resource game. It definitely has that ability. It just has a lot of recursion and a lot of Like you're going to out-resource your opponent, even though your effects are not game-breaking effects. Like in my mind, playing this deck, like I don't feel like this thing is overly busted, but the resource game is really strong. And that's the thing that gives this deck an advantage. Granted, though, I was playing the pure variant. I'm pretty sure that the Slim's Invoked variant is probably more, shall we say, probably more game breaking than the pure variant that I was messing around with. That being said, though, speaking of Slim, I do have a little announcement for you guys. On my next episode of Behind the Screen is going to be Slim. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. Slim Wagio is going to be making an appearance, and I'm super excited about that. So, yeah. I will see you guys in the next video. If you have somebody that you want me to do a behind the screen with, make sure you drop a comment below. They can be somebody I've done one with before, or somebody I haven't done one with before. I will do my best to deliver a conversation with any one of these people, so that you might want me to. So leave your comments below, and yeah, I'm Ben 10,000 Wagio, your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh superhero, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.